His story of the United States begins long before the nation's founding in 1776. For thousands of years, Native American civilizations thrived across the continent. From the great cities of the Mississippian culture to the nomadic tribes of the Great Plains, indigenous peoples lived, traded, and fought over these lands long before European settlers arrived. Colonial America, 1492 to 1776. In 1492, Christopher Columbus landed in the Americas, opening the door for European colonization. The Spanish, French, and Dutch claimed vast territories, but it was the British who would establish the 13 colonies that became the foundation of the United States. In 1607, the first permanent English settlement, Jamestown, was founded in Virginia. The Pilgrims landed in Plymouth, Massachusetts, in 1620, seeking religious freedom. The American Revolution, 1775 to 1783. The colonies, led by figures like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Benjamin Franklin, declared independence from Britain on July 4, 1776. The war lasted until 1783, when the Treaty of Paris officially recognized the United States as an independent nation. The new country adopted the Articles of Confederation, but weaknesses in this government structure led to the drafting of the U.S. Constitution in 1787. The Early Republic, 1789 to 1820s. In 1789, George Washington became the first president of the United States. Under his leadership, and that of his successors, the nation established a stable government, created a financial system, and expanded westward. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803, negotiated by Thomas Jefferson, doubled the size of the country. However, tensions with Britain led to the War of 1812, often called the United States' Second War of Independence. Though the war ended in a stalemate, it fostered a sense of American nationalism. Expansion and division, 1820s–1860. The early 19th century saw rapid expansion, fueled by the belief in manifest destiny, the idea that the U.S. was destined to expand from coast to coast. Settlers moved westward, often at the expense of Native American tribes. Conflicts such as the Trail of Tears in the 1830s forced indigenous peoples from their lands. Meanwhile, deep divisions formed over slavery. The North, industrializing rapidly, opposed its expansion, while the agrarian South depended on enslaved labor. These tensions erupted into political crises, including the Missouri Compromise, 1820, and the Compromise of 1850. The Civil War and Reconstruction, 1861 to 1877. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected president, prompting the Southern states to secede and form the Confederate States of America. The Civil War began in 1861, becoming the bloodiest conflict in American history. The Union, led by Lincoln and General Ulysses S. Grant, ultimately defeated the Confederacy in 1865. Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, 1863, and the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, but the struggle for racial equality continued. During Reconstruction, 1865 to 1877, the U.S. government attempted to rebuild the South and integrate freed African Americans into society. However, resistance from white supremacist groups led to the rise of segregation laws known as Jim Crow. Industrialization and world power, 1877 to 1914. The late 19th century saw massive industrial growth. Railroads connected the country, factories boomed, and cities grew. Figures like Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller built vast business empires, while immigrants from Europe flooded into the country, seeking opportunity. By the early 20th century, the U.S. had become a global power. It flexed its military might in the Spanish-American War, 1898, gaining territories like Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. The Cold War era, 1945 to 1991. After World War II, the U.S. and the Soviet Union emerged as superpowers, entering a period of intense rivalry known as the Cold War. This led to the Korean War, 1950 to 1953, the Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975, and the space race, which culminated in the U.S. landing on the Moon in 1969. Modern America, 1991 present. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 ended the Cold War as the world's sole superpower. The 1990s saw economic growth and technological advancements, with the rise of the Internet revolutionizing society. The 21st century brought new challenges. Today, the U.S. remains a global leader in politics, science, and culture, continually evolving as it faces new opportunities and challenges in the 21st century.